To start with, Anabel, I was really inspired the first day I heard you.
Oh, that's very nice of you. Thank
Because somebody at this age, and I know age should not be that a big a factor, but it is when you see, the idea is not to keep working or keep doing something till that age. There are big celebrities or big authors who are still doing it, but that's only a few.
you. Mm-hmm.
And it it made me say stand up and say that wow, look at her. And exactly aligned with that somebody is on purpose at this age as well,
Mm-hmm.
because one, a lot of people don't even look for finding a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Second, if
True.
they find, they will not carry forward till this age,
Mm-hmm.
pursuing that purpose. They
Right.
deviate.
Yes.
So that was really inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I feel really strongly. I'm very passionate
Yeah,
about using myself all up.
yeah,
So I don't want to sit around and be passive and
yeah,
not interact with people and not
yeah,
share what it is that I'm thinking and helping them to perhaps enrich their own lives or strengthen their own lives
yeah,
or find their own purpose. That's exactly what you're doing.
yeah.
Helping them to find their own purpose.
Can you share any inspiring or life changing moment from your life that inspired you or that created that one drop of ripple that made you say that this, I need to find my purpose, or I need to find a noble cause? What was that? Any story, any story,
Any
because I
story.
think people connect with stories
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
I
real life
absolutely
stories, and
do.
I think you are only telling stories in your speeches. So
Mm-hmm.
something from your life which really is, you think, that can inspire everybody.
Well, probably the most impactful incident that ever happened to me was the destruction or the dissolvement of my marriage. Okay, so I was like most young women. I got married. I thought I was going to live this fairy tale life. My parents actually had lived a fairy tale life. My father died just a few days before their 60th wedding anniversary, and they were the most amazing couple. Everybody looked at them and said, "Oh, wow, isn't that?" So I thought that I would get married and that that same situation would end up happening. Unfortunately, it did not. So about 10 years into the marriage, I begin to think, oh my gosh, what's going on? This doesn't feel right. There's something seriously at fault. And I thought it was me. So I took on the blame. I have to do this. I'll try this. I'll do this. Everything from, well, I'll cut my hair to, I'll change my style to, I'll be more loving and kind. And I had a child by then, my son, Caleb.
Yeah.
And what I did discover is that my husband had gotten involved in cocaine.
Wow.
So he has up to a huge habit. He actually, in the end, left me with $100,000 worth of debt. So I'm looking at that situation. In addition to that, during this period of time that he gets involved with cocaine, he also decides that he will come out of the closet. Turns out that he wants to live a homosexual lifestyle instead of a heterosexual lifestyle. So he ends up with AIDS. And I remember sitting on the doorstep looking at the results from the hospital about whether I had them or didn't have them.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
thinking, oh my gosh, should I open this envelope? Because
Yeah.
whatever is in here is going to have a huge
Impact
on my life. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I open it. Fortunately, I was very blessed and it's free, yes, of any kind of HIV virus. And I, at that moment in time, it reinforced for me the importance of hope, the importance of purpose, the importance of optimism. And so I wanted to take my knowledge and my pain and help people to understand that if you know where you're going and what you want to do, then whatever disaster, whatever adversity has happened to you, that you can take that adversity, you can gild it with gold, you can gild it with hope, you can gild it with optimism, you can gild it with purpose, and that tragedy then can turn into meaning for others and meaning for yourself. So there's a Stanford professor, I don't believe it's the same one that you mentioned, who has written about life's purpose.
Okay.
And 25% of us are dreamers. 25% of us are just so busy doing things that we don't even know what's going on and happening. We're just busy, busy, busy. 25% of us are searching, but we haven't found it yet.
Yes.
And 25% of us are actively involved in, we have a cause, we have a purpose. So my noble goal is to teach people to balance accountability and compassion so that ethical behavior will flood the globe. So I really want to help people to, one, understand each other better, and then to be more compassionate with each other, but also to move forward to a better sense of negotiation so that we're not dishonest in our sharing of thoughts, we're not dishonest in our business behaviors, we're not dishonest in our family behaviors, and so that we are adhering to a set of principles that are extremely important. So I try to practice that every day. Now, do I make mistakes? And absolutely, but I keep working on it. And I want to keep working on it right up until I'm 99.
And more, like why 99? Yeah. I was checking, I hope it's on. You've given a wonderful story. And if that was off, that would kill me.
I think it's funny.
Yeah, one more question I had in mind. I actually made a list of questions, but I feel that I was about to print it.
You can bring them.
No, but I was about to print it. I said no. I will speak from heart.
Oh,
because
and I will return that to your friend.
In today's parenting.
Yes.
What is there are a lot of young parents out there.
Uh-huh.
What is like some advice you'd like to give them?
Well, I have a 40-year-old son whom I love. Well, it would make me cry probably if I talked to him too much. But he would say, if he were here and answering that question, that what have I given to him would be the gift of optimism. That for him is the most important thing that has happened. So that when adversities occur in our life, whether it's something simple like you stub your toe, or you fall and break a leg, or you get a medical decision of some kind, that you move forward with life knowing that your adversities are temporary, not going to last forever, that they are isolated to one particular part of your life or your situation or your circumstance, and that if you put effort into it, that is so critically important. Absolutely critically important.
So optimism.
Yes, optimism would be the major gift that I want to give every child in the world. But my son is grateful for it and has told me that he loves that gift and thinks it's the most important gift that I've given.
That's I think I'm going to use that for sure for my children.
Yes.
And so sometimes it happens where she said, my daughter, when comes back from school, and she says that, Mama, this friend of mine, I wanted to hold her hand, but she said I don't want to. The only thing I could think of that time is tell her that, did you ask somebody else to hold your hand? Because there are so many people who can care for you and love you. You don't have to get stuck with one person. And maybe she was not in the mood, not that she doesn't like you, but at the age of 5, I don't know how much she understood that, but that's the only thing I could say to her.
No, and I think that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
I think the second thing that I have given Caleb is the encouragement to go for his passion and to do what turns him on and makes him excited, and so the power of choice, I think, is a really critical one.
Yeah.
Not to say you have to be a doctor, you have to be a dentist, you have to be a bookkeeper, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But to encourage him to do what it is that he wants to do. So we actually took a trip to Italy when he was probably about 20. Okay. And we went to every museum, I think, that exists between France and Florence. And he just fell in love, and it was like a door was opened. And he said, oh, just want to deal in the art world. Yeah. So he's a fashion designer. Okay. He lives in LA. Nice. And doing great. Yeah.
Great. There's also one thing which I feel strange. I don't know it is or not. There's a lot of what you say stigma around kids being social these days. Because when my child, I was going for the assessment to enter and for the entrance in the school, because she was not able to speak because she's not a social person. She is very into herself, an introvert, a shy kid for her age, a bit more if you compare to other kids. There was a lot of pressure from the whole environment of the assessment that, oh, she's not speaking, how do I know she speaks or not? If she's not interacting, if you're not social, it will be a tricky thing for us to say yes for her to enter the class. And I felt really bad. I had videos of her speaking and doing rhymes and counting numbers. I showed to the teacher. That gave us the entrance. But imagine a child who can speak everything or is very smart and intelligent, but he's not or she's not a social person. So what do you think about that? Should we create that kind of pressure?
Well, based on the fact that our teenagers feel pressured already, and I would not encourage pressure.
Yeah, so how do you deal with that problem?
Right. So when you say you took them to school and they did an assessment,
Yeah.
and then I would say that I don't want to use. Well, I'm going to end up using that word, but I think that the blame or the result is as much the responsibility from the assessor,
Yeah.
as it is from the child.
Yeah.
So once upon a time, I was I'm still a psychologist, but I was doing IQ assessments.
Yeah.
At Nueva, and which is a private school for gifted children in the United States.
Yeah.
And one little boy shows up, and he's holding on to his mother, and he's clutching onto her leg,
Yes.
and he doesn't want to let go. So I don't drag him away. I sit down next to him and start having a conversation, not with him, but with his mother.
Yeah.
So we're just talking and chatting, and I said something, and pretty soon he said something.
Yeah.
And then I turned to him and I started having a conversation
Yeah.
with him. And so then, we move forward, but it's my responsibility to reach in and find a way to bring out what's going on and happening for the child.
Because that's something really disturbs me. Because it's a lot of pressure in a small 5-year-old kid, even in a social gathering. Oh, she's shy. Oh, why doesn't she come forward? Because that's her.
Yes, right. So
and if
we arrive with our DNA package.
Yes.
Yes, and so one of the things that we can learn is coping skills. But at 5, it isn't. I wouldn't expect her to have developed all of those coping skills. I mean, honest and truly, I hate public speaking. Okay, you heard that yesterday.
Doesn't seem like that.
When I was talking about, oh my gosh, terror. Well, I'm a 78 almost. And so I've learned a few coping skills to deal with that.
Yeah.
But she's 5.
Yeah.
Give her some time and space
Yeah.
to develop her own set of coping abilities.
What advice do you want to give to the young generation, the people who are in college and university? Because they are exposed with so many things right now. I mean, the amount of information we have, which was not there in the previous generation. What advice you have for them?
I want them to understand how powerful they are. The brain is an amazing tool, and it is capable of so much knowledge, so many skills, invention, music, art. I want them to have faith in their own abilities, and I want them to step forward. I want them not to pay attention to someone who says, you can't do that, or no, you're. I want them to pick up their skill and their talent and put it in their backpack and march forward, knowing that they can contribute to the world.
People today are obsessed with information on internet. If especially a lot of parents or pregnant women, that there's so much information of how to eat, what to not eat during pregnancy, or when the child is out, how do you handle the child, and you read so much about that. What advice do you have for them? Because they're overloaded with information, and they are just
I think that the piece of advice that I would give there is that parents want to be perfect. They want to be the perfect parent.
Yes.
They want to make sure that they do
Yes.
everything
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yes.
And I just don't think that's possible. I'm going to make mistakes no matter how wonderful a parent I am.
Yeah.
And Caleb, my son, would be the first one to tell you
Yeah.
she's blown it a couple of times, folks. But it's about the total melody that you're playing as a parent. It's not about the individual mistakes and the misnotes that you make. It is about the message that you give and about the love that you share and about the courage that you want to deposit with them and hold that door open for them and not try to make them into you or an extension of you in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form.
What do you feel about people today when you meet? I'm sure you're coming from a different part of the world to this world. What's your experience here meeting with people? How did you feel about them? What do you have? Not judgment, but what perception do you have about
You know what? I have never met a person that I didn't think I just really liked. I think that underneath we have so much in common, so much common ground. And so it's important to find what that common ground is.
Yeah.
Whether it's a love of a particular book, or maybe it's we are devoted to elephants, or maybe it is that we really care about growing broccoli. But whatever it is, I think that when we find that common ground, then we can become friends.
So, what is the common ground that you felt between us, and what is one
Between the two of us?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And what advice or blessing or suggestion you would like to give me, and I can just hold close to my heart forever.
Okay, so the common ground that I think that you and I share is two things. Two things. So one of them is that we really care about children. You care about children. I care about children. I want to make their lives better. So that's a common piece that we have. I think the second common piece that we have is this importance of doing something with our lives that's meaningful, that people can look at us and say, oh my gosh, she changed, she became stronger, she became courageous, she became bold. You did that. And I'm still working on it, but I think I'm making progress in doing that. And so I think we have that in common. And and out of that commonness, what I would want to have happen is a bond that creates and enlarges both of our lives, because you can contribute immensely to mine in terms of the knowledge that you have, and I would hope that I could be your friend.
Oh my God, I would love to be your friend.
Then great. No one can ever have too many friends. No one can ever have too many friends.
Thank you so much for giving, openly this time.
Oh, and thank you for asking.
And lovely questions. And, just with recording this, it's like I can go back to it again and again.
Well, what is even better is that you can write me a note.
Yeah.
You can Zoom me. You can.
And I'm going to do that.
You can email me. You can pick up the phone. You can text me.
Absolutely.
So it can be fresh and new content all of the time.
Absolutely.
We can continue to discover who we are.
Thank you so much.
And I'll look forward to discovering who you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Anabel.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that was